loves, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah. Nova is asleep. And this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. This is the last podcast episode of April. I almost said May. I'm trying to skip ahead. If you can hear, I'm sure you can hear. There's no way you won't be able to hear the consistent banging, drilling, sawing. It's been going on since yesterday at 7 a.m. The room that is being added to our house is currently getting framed. So the roof is getting framed out, and then like the internal part of the room where the bathroom and the closet are gonna go. So it has been insanely loud. Like, this thumping is nothing compared to the noise yesterday. I did not know a saw could be that loud. And like, the noise itself doesn't bother me, but oh my God, poor Nova couldn't take a nap yesterday. She was exhausted, she was crying. She was begging to go to bed for her nap at like 10 a.m. this morning. And I was like, oh, we can't do it. So we pushed it. We made it till 11:30. It did end in tears, but she was so tired that she promptly passed out, which I'm so thankful for, because 2 days, that would be the third day this week that she didn't take a nap. That would be too much. So if the banging in the background is just too much, feel free to skip this episode. I'm terribly sorry. This is the only time I'm going to be able to record this, because they're going to be here all day tomorrow too, which is Friday, and then Saturday the episode's supposed to go live. We have probably 2 weeks, maybe 3, before they kick us out of our bedroom. And then it's going to be even crazier until they're done. Right now, everything they're doing is outside. But once the electric is in, basically when they're about ready to start drywall, we're going to be out of our room because they have to build a hallway through it. And they have to fill in the windows of the 2 current beds, like a whole thing. So I am exhausted. Also, I'm such a mess. I don't know what was happening last night. Something startled me in the middle of the night, and I bit my tongue so hard that like talking hurts a little bit. While I was sleeping, I bit my tongue. And then this morning I blew my nose and I had a nosebleed. Also, all of our phones went off this morning at 4:45 a.m. with a test emergency alert. And I have the test alerts off, like they're not supposed to come through, but apparently it didn't work. And everyone in Florida got a test alert at 4:45 a.m., which is super delightful. I'm so excited for us. Also, there's no way I can sleep through all that banging, so we're doing this instead. So this is a long disclaimer to be like, I just don't know what's happening today. I do not have a ton of yarn content. I've worked on my 2 pairs of socks a little bit. I worked on 1 knit sweater. I worked on 1 crochet shawl a little bit. And then I started to swatch for something that I'm gonna have to frog. Nova, last time, Nova had a cold, which she promptly gave to me. And that took me out for like 4 days. I was sick on Easter. It wasn't as bad on Easter as it could have been. The actual worst part of the cold was the Monday and Tuesday after Easter. But I knew I was gonna get it because she was like attached to my body all of that Wednesday when she was sick. And she was like right here, like this far away from my face, just talking like I'm talking, blah, 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 blah. And then she just went, like literally like coughed in my face. And I felt it. And I was like, ooh, I'm pretty sure I'm not escaping the plague. I did not, no, she got me. She got me good. But I'm better now. My nose is still a little runny. My voice is still a little weird, but. So I didn't touch yarn for quite a while because I was taking care of a sick baby, and then I was taking care of a sick myself. And then there's been construction going on in the world. Just exciting times over here in the Cozy Cottage. I'm also doing a little bit of a Destash, which I don't want to get into too much. What I will say is I know that my yarn usage is going to drop for a bit after this baby is born, the one I'm currently cooking, because it definitely did with Nova. And I don't want this yarn to collect dust. I want it to go be loved by someone. And the Destash, any money from that is going to buy a few things that we were gonna need for the new baby. So I'm going to post a link to where I posted it because I posted all of the skeins individually, photographed with a caption of what they are, on my Facebook page, which is the Cozy Cottage Crochet. So I will link to that down below. It'll be the first link. I cannot promise you what will be left because I posted it a day ago and half of it is gone. So this is what I have left, is this box full of yarn. So if you're interested in some Destash yarn, you would like to give some yarn babies a home, you can absolutely just click on that link and check it out. I tried to make everything super simple. One of the things, which because some people have bought yarn already, one of the things that is going to be prepaid for this time that I'm going to do with that particular money is to pay for an in-home visit from a lactation consultant. In fact, the same one I had when I was at the end of my rope, desperate with Nova, like ready to quit the next day. And she was the kindest woman. She not only was so helpful and knowledgeable and like helped me reach my goal of nursing Nova for 6 months, because it was like 4 months and I was ready to quit. We were having such a hard time. She was so kind and so knowledgeable, and she also was just so non-judgmental. She didn't give me a hard time because I was having a hard time. She didn't tell me I should or shouldn't be using formula. She said, I want to help you reach your goal. And I'm gonna cry right now. Oh my Lord, pregnancy hormones. She's like, if this is important to you, then it's important to me, and we are gonna figure this out. And at any point, if you want to stop, you can stop, but I'm here for you. And like literally, she saved my nursing journey with Nova because it had been a nightmare up to that point. And we still made it. I made it almost to 7 months actually, and then slowly tapered off over the next month or so after that. And then Nova still had bottles for quite a while because I had pumped and frozen some stuff. So I did not have the lactation consultant at the beginning when Nova was born. Of course, it was COVID. I didn't even know I needed one. But this time, I'm gonna book and prepay for her to come before, like, when I get home from the hospital. I want her to be like, okay, help me. So that's one thing. And then I'm also saving up to get a different rocking chair. And this is some nonsense, y'all. I promise I'll get to yarn content eventually. I don't know why I'm talking about my life up front. This is some nonsense. If you have been around a while, you know my rocking chair woes. So once upon a time, before Nova was born, my in-laws gifted me their old rocking chair. Solid wood, beautiful rocking chair. I bought new cushions for the chair. It was perfect for like the first 4 months of Nova's life. And then it started squeaking. And when I say squeaking, I mean, it sounded like someone was being murdered. We took the whole chair apart like 3 separate times. Oiled everything that could possibly be oiled. My dad, who used to be a cabinet maker, oiled it twice and like tried everything he could to make it stop squeaking, and it would not stop squeaking. I still have no idea to this day why it was making such a horrendous sound, and neither do any of I don't, Josiah doesn't, my dad doesn't, and one of our friends who is a woodworker has no idea why it was making that noise. So obviously not a relaxing time to rock a baby. So got rid of that one. I then found a chair on Facebook Marketplace for like 25 bucks. And I transferred the cushions from the old rocking chair to this used rocking chair. And it also squeaked. It did not squeak nearly as bad as the first one. So we kept that one for a little while. And then someone gave me a kind of like an armchair rocking chair, which does not squeak when you are rocking, but it does make a horrendous noise when you sit down and get it. So very good for rocking a baby, very bad if the baby falls asleep, because there's no way they're gonna sleep through you standing up out of the rocking chair. It's also just like a really small And I don't know why it's so small. Like, I'm a pretty small person, I feel, like, or maybe just average. I don't have long legs, I'm not tall. And like, if you're sitting down, like if this is the chair, let's say this is the chair, right? And you're sitting, you want your legs to be like right there, right? But mine are like out here. There's like not much seat. So we've had that one since Nova was like 6 months old. It's been in her room. For the new baby, I really just want a chair, a rocking chair, preferably like a rocking armchair, because that's much more comfortable, with that reclines. Doesn't have to be a fancy one. I just need it to recline, because one of the things with Nova is she cried so much, and a lot of times sleeping, she had to be like upright because of her tummy issues and sleeping. And so I would kind of like sit like this on the couch, and it's just really uncomfortable. So I think a recliner would be better. It doesn't make noise. Apparently this is a hard task to find. I don't know. I still don't know why the original rocking chair was squeaking, and I wish it wasn't, because I was so happy with that one. So anyways, that's a long rambling explanation of what the money for the Destash is going towards. The lactation consultant number 1 for sure. And I'm saving up for a reclining rocking chair that will be in our room for a while and then the nursery for a while. So yeah, some drama. Let me tell you some more drama while we're at it. Baby monitor drama. Did you know that you could have baby monitor drama? Because I did not. We had an old VTech baby monitor, and by old I mean it was on our registry, so it was new at the time it was purchased, but we have been using it for 2.5 years straight. It was like $80 at the time it was on our registry, and someone very generously bought it for us, our friends that live down the road from us. It was great. It worked all the time, no problem. Was above Nova's crib, saw the whole crib, no problem. It's been on trips with us, great, totally great. Except it kept not charging. Like this little unit kept not charging, and so the power cord failed. And so I found a replacement power cord for it, which was $20. And I was like, fine, that's fine. I bought it, and then that one worked for a few months, and then that one failed. And I was like, I don't want to keep spending $20 on power cords that fail, because the whole unit was only $80. So we've already spent half of that on power cords. So I went on Amazon and I was like, okay, we need a new baby monitor. We're just gonna buy a new baby monitor for the new baby. I ordered one from Hello Baby, which is Amazon's choice. It has tons and tons of positive reviews, and I truly don't understand how, because when I put it above Nova's crib in the same spot the other one was, like 6 feet up, you cannot see the whole crib. Like if this screen is the whole crib, you could see like this much of it. What is that? Like the camera was like too zoomed in, but there was no zoom. Like you couldn't zoom in or out. And I was like, this is the strangest thing I've ever seen. Like, why would you make a baby monitor that you can't see the whole crib? So I returned it. And then I ordered the next model of the VTech one that we previously had, which they don't make the one we previously had anymore. It's discontinued. But it's literally the same monitor, just the next model. Same problem. It can't see the whole crib. And then I finally posted in the moms group on Facebook, like the St. Petersburg moms, and I was like, does anyone have this problem? Like, I do not understand what I'm doing wrong. I had no idea there was baby monitors that didn't see the whole crib. That doesn't even make sense to me that exists. So I got all these recommendations. And if you are having a baby, or you know someone who's having a baby, I do want to recommend this one. One of my lovely friends named Sam sent us a gift card for basically like a baby present, which paid for half of this monitor. It normally would have been probably out of our budget, but it's the Infant Optics monitor. And the picture quality, crystal clear. It can see the entire big crib. It can move and pan, like the camera can like move around. And then it also has, I can turn the screen off. So my other baby monitor always was next to me on my nightstand. Just, you know, just in case Nova needed me in the middle of the night. But I had it covered with like a t-shirt because it was so bright. This one, you just turn the screen off and you can still hear it. I love it. Highly recommend. I've been rambling for 15 minutes now. Let's talk about yarn, shall we? I hope you have your favorite drink by now. If you don't, just pause this and go get one. I'm drinking ginger ale because Mama needs some sugar. Let's see here. This is going to be in no particular order. I'm just going to start with the pile that's right here. I'm going to start with socks because that's right next to me. Someday these socks will be done. Someday, probably not the next time I podcast, but someday. Both of these pairs of socks you have seen approximately 700 times. That's an exaggeration. Oh no, I dropped the whole thing. But I have been working on these since before Christmas. This pair and the next pair. The first one is done. I thought I would show it to you in all its glory. Oh, so pretty. This yarn is Lang Jawool yarn. I don't remember the colorway. It's some number. It's not a color. But I got it in the UK in 2018. A couple balls of that yarn, and I really like using it for toes, heels, and cuffs, which I have done here. And then this yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners in the colorway Wildflower, which was a gift from my lovely friend Jen. And I made these socks top down. So I cast on 64 stitches, did 15 rounds of 2x2 rib, knit straight until from here to here was 6 inches. Then I did a fish lips kiss heel, and then I knit 5 3/8 inches, but who's counting? A stockinette for the foot and put in a rounded toe from Mina's 2 at a time sock recipe. Mina Phillips, who is the knitting expat. So this is the first one. It's been done for a little bit. I've been slowly plugging along on the second, and I have barely done it. So the cuff is done. Last time I was about halfway through the heel, so I finished the heel and I've done one color stripe. So if we're gonna compare them, I have a long ways to go. I have basically from this purple all the way down. So still probably 5 1/4 inches of knitting plus a toe. Are these gonna be done next time? No. No, unless I get some burst of inspiration and I'm like, oh, this sock is the only thing I wanna work on. That's probably not gonna happen. But someday they'll be done. That's sock number 1. Sock number 2, living in my Eeyore bag. And actually I'm sad like Eeyore because this bag maker is Slip Stitch Studios. Both of these bags are from Slip Stitch Studios, and then I have 2 more sock bags. They're my older sock bags. They've been all over the world with me. I love them so much. And Slip Stitch Studios was gonna close last year sometime. They had a really hard time making it through COVID, and they managed to stay open, but they're closing for real at the beginning or the middle of May. And I got that email and I was like, oh, they're my favorite. They're my favorite. There's truly nothing compared to the quality of this bag. So it breaks my heart. If I had billions of dollars, I would just go buy all the things on their website. So if you do, go buy the things because they will not exist anymore. If you want a sock bag, now is the time. Uh-oh. We just lost a stitch marker. I don't even know where that came from or what it was marking. So this second pair of socks are my Christmas socks that I started before Christmas. I knew I wasn't gonna finish them by Christmas, but I want to have some socks, some Christmas socks to wear on Christmas this year in 2023. And I will for sure have them because sock number 1 is done. Oh, I love them so much. This is Christmas sock yarn from Honeybee Knits in the colorway Merry Knitmas. It is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and a little bit of Christmas, 5% stellina. I don't know if you can see it sparkling in the light, but it's really sparkly in person. I really love it. I feel like this is my only Christmas sock yarn in my stash, but I'm not entirely sure about that, but it's very obviously Christmas yarn. I had 100 grams. This is how much I have left. Wow. Sounded like someone just dropped a bunch of lumber on the top of our house, which they probably did. This sock has gotten more love than the other pair because this is where I was last time. And then I finished the cuff. I put in my Fishlitzka's heel, and I have knit several inches a foot. So look at that. If we're gonna compare, I don't know why I'm really into comparing right now, but I'm like halfway through the foot. So I think a reasonable goal would be to finish this sock by next time I podcast. Will it happen? Honestly, who knows? It just depends on if another plague visits our house, or if I'm violently sick from this baby, or if Nova is sick, or I don't know. If the banging never stops. It's fine, everything's fine. These are my crazy eyes. Did y'all watch that part of one of the Toy Stories? It's Mr. Potato Head and Mrs. Potato Head, and she's packing all his parts in his body, and she's like, don't forget your angry eyes. That's what I think of every time I'm like, crazy eyes. So 2 pairs of socks. We might as well finish the knitting. So I have been working on a sweater. I have not touched my super bulky sweater. I don't know why. I'm like nervous about it probably because I keep messing up everything on that sweater. But this is my mix and match cardigan, which is a pattern by Nina Phillips, who is a knitting expat. That's kind of what it looks like. I should find you a better picture. So the reason it's called the mix and match cardigan is because you can mix and match. You can have stockinette body or textured body. You can have a high-low hem or a straight hem. And you can have a shawl collar, like a little shawl collar, or a straight collar. So that is the picture. That's Mina. I have wanted to make this for ages. And my dear friend, Maria, hi Maria, who was the dyer behind Fat Bunny Yarn, which is a yarn company that closed, and now she works for another yarn company called Olive and 2U, which makes beautiful yarn as well. She dyed me enough yarn to make this sweater in fluorescent pink, which, as you know, is one of my favorite colors of all time. Blue is my favorite color, hot pink is my favorite color. There's nothing better to me than neon. I love neon. I have been putting in a fair amount of work on this. I'm gonna guess that's 3 inches? 3, yeah, probably from the top of this stitch marker all the way down. This is straight stockinette. It could be even 4 inches. Look at that. That's a fair amount. This is all knit before I got sick. And then after I had a cold, I didn't touch yarn. And then since then I haven't touched it. I'm gonna try to put this on for you, but it's not on a very long needle at the moment, so I don't know. Yeah, it's totally not gonna work. Like the needle itself is like, first of all, in my armpit, like right here. So it's not gonna come around. But this is what the top of it looks like. I'm really, really, really happy with it because obviously it's neon. It fits super well so far. And the reason that I had knit so much on it already is because I switched this over. I was knitting this on Lika wooden needles, and I have switched this over to the Denise interchangeable needles that I talked about on the last podcast episode. These are plastic. They are made in the US. It is a woman-owned company, and I have their Tunisian hooks. I also have an interchangeable set of knitting needles now because they sent that to me for review. But the Tunisian hooks I've been using for years, adore them. They're the only Tunisian hooks I will use. The knitting needles I had never tried, so I tried them. What I have to say, and I'm not going to do a full review because I don't think you should or can do a full review without trying multiple needle sizes, which I want to do. So I've only used, this is a 6. As we discussed last time, I have no idea what millimeters are, but it's probably a 3.75 or a 4 millimeter needle. It's whatever size I needed to get gauge. The needles themselves, fabulous. I actually, like, they have a little bit of give to them. They're really light. They warm up in your hands. I haven't had any problems with them being too dull, but I'm not trying to knit lace. I'm just knitting stockinette. I actually don't think I've ever purled so fast. They're really fast. They're much faster than the Licka needles because they don't have that grip that the wood has. They're somehow faster at purling than my Chowgoos are. I don't know how that works. Chowgoos metal. Maybe because I grip the Chowgoo needles harder because the metal, they're really slick and these have just enough grab so the stitches don't go flying. So the needles themselves, super duper duper fast. The cable, not super fast. Because if you can see, this is one of the smallest needle sizes that comes in their interchangeable set. It's either the smallest or the second to smallest one. And the cable is the same size no matter what needle. So there's not really any tapering here. Excuse me. Oh no. Ginger ale break. There's not any like on the Licka needles, on my Chowgoos, it kind of tapers to a point and then the cable itself is a lot skinnier. This cable is not skinnier, so it is harder to move the stitches on the cable. I imagine that would not be the case if you were working with bigger needles because the bigger needles do taper and then your yarn loops are going to be much bigger. But on this, my yarn loops are basically the same size as the cable, so it makes it harder to move the whole sweater, all of the knitting around and around. It's not uncomfortable. I'm not like upset about it, but it does slow me down. So I think that my purling and my knitting are the same speed as they would be on my Chowgoos or my Lickas because the cable's slowing me down. But I will say no hand pain. No hand pain, no arm pain. So that's really nice. And yeah, I have done. Look at all this. It's kind of a lot. Happy about that. So I will keep knitting with these. I will keep talking. We'll keep trying them out. I will try some other sizes as well before I give you my final verdict. That will be at least a few months from now because I really want to give them a full shot. But I really could not believe how fast I was purling with those needles. It's crazy. The crochet that I have done is I have worked a little bit on my Alina shawl. This I picked up, gosh, last night. Which is why not too much has been done on it. I just have this little nugget left. I'm excited to see. There's only gonna be a tiny bit of yarn left at the end of this. This is a shawl design that I am working on. And last time I podcasted, y'all were with me when I realized I was making the border on the wrong side of the shawl. But I've decided to make it go all the way around. So I can't exactly tell you where I was last time. I think I was probably like here. So I've done the border all the way on this long part. I flipped it around and now I'm halfway through this. So I have this much more from this finger over to here, this much more border to do. This is a close-up of what the border looks like. It's just kind of a ripple. I really like actually that it goes all the way around. Maybe more shawls should have a border that goes all the way around because especially on the long point, it makes it look like waves, which this yarn is called Wales Road, I'm pretty sure. So very oceany. I just really like that. I think it's really delicate, really beautiful. This whole shawl, it's gonna grow even after it is blocked, is less than 100 grams of lace weight yarn. I know some of you are like anti-lace weight. And I understand, okay? I really do understand because you can crochet and crochet and crochet or knit and knit and knit on lace weight yarn and like make no progress. But that is, to me, the very reason to use lace weight yarn. Not only because it's lightweight and it's perfect for southern climates or hot climates, but because this is the best bang for your buck. This, I mean, 100 grams, you get 400 yards per 50 grams-ish on lace weight yarn. 800 yards for 100 grams. It's the best. You're gonna get the most time spent. That's so loud. You're gonna get the most time spent and the most yardage for your money. So if hand-dyed yarn not super in your budget, try lace weight. Or, I mean, a light fingering weight like wool-like. I love that yarn. I have a sweater made out of that yarn. More than one? Several shawls made out of that yarn. Love that yarn. And you get 600 something yards per 100 grams. So yeah, I really would like to have this finished for the next 100 podcast because there's really not much left to do. Just that one border. The last yarn project I want to talk to you about is loading this giant llama bag, which came from my friend Amanda. And it was, the yarn in here also came from my friend Amanda. I want to show you, I was swatching, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it yet. The yarn is Asylum Fibers. It's a fade, 75% merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. You can see that it's a fade. This is actually the lightest one. And then it goes darker, 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 darker. Or like over here. There is 438 yards per 100 grams, and there's 500 grams. So I cannot do math right now, but like 400 times 5 is 2,000 yards, plus 38 yards. We'll call it 40. 40 times 5, so 2,200 yards is about what I have that I'm working with. The cardigan that I was going to swatch for, or started swatching for, is called the Lau cardigan. It is a crochet pattern by Linda Skuja. The pictures, I think someone's at our doorbell. Hold please. I'm back. That actually ended up being longer than I thought it would be. It was the contractor at our front door, one who's in charge of the whole project, just giving us an update. And then I was like, well, I'm pregnant, so I should probably pee because I do that 70,000 times a day. And then they started in on some noise that made it sound like the house was falling apart. So I have no idea what I was saying. I know I was talking about the Lau cardigan and how I have about 2,200 yards of yarn to work with. You can't, it's really hard to see. Like it's got this beautiful leaf motif, but you make this bottom up. And that is why I am concerned. So I started to swatch. This is the swatch using the recommended hook size. It's very pretty. Way off gauge, I can tell. Already I can tell. I am supposed to be getting 23 stitches in 4 inches. I think I'm getting on this maybe 19 or 20, and that's pre-blocking. So I need to go down a couple of hook sizes. My concern is for the size cardigan I want to make, I have to find the schematic. It's in a weird place at the very end. The finished schematic, the size I want to make, I could make either if I made the medium, the finished measurement, bust measurement would be 44 inches. And if I make a large, the finished bust measurement will be 48 inches. My bust prior to getting pregnant with Nova was 41 inches, I'm pretty sure. Yes, that sounds right. And then after Nova, and after I was done nursing, I lost a little bit in this department, and it was like 38 and a half. The rest of my body didn't change sizes, but this shrunk a little bit. So my dilemma is, do I make the size that's going to fit me for a while now and just have it be a little oversized when this shrinks back down to whatever it's going to be after this baby? Or do I go smaller? If I make the large, which is to fit bust of 42 inches, which is probably about where I am right now. I have not measured, maybe bigger, I don't know. What's a finished garment measurement of 48 inches? And how much yarn did it say I needed for that? I feel like, oh, I'm supposed to look at page 8 for precise yardage. But guess what? None of these pages are numbered. So I can't look at page 8 until I just scroll through all of them. For size number, if I were going to make the large, I would need 675 grams, which is 5,000 yards. Now this pattern is written for lace weight held double. So I can cut that yarn in half, yardage in half, because I would be using fingering weight held single, but that would be 2,500 yards for the large. 45, yeah. If I make the medium size, so it would be a little bit smaller, I would need about 2,200 yards if I get gauge. So I just don't know exactly what to do because I could just make the medium, but even then I may still run out, because if I use a smaller hook size, I'm going to be using more yarn. And this is a bottom up cardigan, so it's possible to make it in this yarn. One of the other issues I'm having is you make it bottom up, you make the sleeves bottom up, and then you attach the border. And you're supposed to attach the border working the fade correctly. So either I need to figure out a way to work the border while I am working the entire cardigan, or figure out another border altogether, or use a different yarn altogether. But I really want it to be this yarn because it's just so pretty. I don't know. Dilemma. So I started swatching, and that's as far as I got, because I was like, oh no, this is going to require a lot of math, and I did not have math energy. So yeah, that's all. That's all she wrote. I wish I could get it figured out. I hope I can get it figured out what exactly I'm going to do. I'm leaning towards making the smaller size because it will still have that sound is what we heard all day yesterday. It will still have a lot of positive ease. I feel like I need to end this podcast because if they're going to be doing that, then I can't even talk. The banging is one thing. That sound, guaranteed to go straight into your ear holes and give you a migraine. So yeah, I guess this will be a shorter one. And hopefully in 2 more weeks, it will not be so insane. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. What is life? Let me give you a bump date. A bump update. This is the bump. It's definitely bumping. We have our appointment. The anatomy scan is next Friday, so a week from tomorrow for me. And we hopefully will find out if it's a boy or a girl then. And hopefully everything else will be fine as well. So that's exciting. And then we'll get kicked out of our bedroom in a couple of weeks. So that's exciting. And it's all just very exciting, and we're gonna survive it. This whole pregnancy, I've been like, okay, one day at a time. One day at a time. And some days it's been really, really, really hard. And some days it's been okay. I will say I'm not quite as tired as I was in the first trimester, so that is a plus. I am not quite as constantly nauseated. Like, it was constant originally, and it's not quite as constant anymore, but when it comes, it is like violent. Like, I can't even like look at things, like I'm just about to barf at any moment, and have a couple of times. So it hasn't really gone away. And this is week 19, so I don't have a lot of hope. But we're making it. We're trying. So anyways, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you're working on, because I love to know what you're working on. Let me know what project you're excited about. What are you going to work on this summer? I will come back in 2 weeks with hopefully more yarn content. Hopefully the plague does not come back to our house. And maybe Nova will be back next time, because she will not have dissolved in tears before 10 a.m. Until I see you next time, be kind to yourself. Love you so much. Hearts, hugs. Bye, friends.